Meanwhile, Angela, you won't be surprised to know Prince Harry has done whatever he can not to spend Memorial Day weekend with Meghan. Instead, he's decided to travel to China. Now, this is as a result of his Travelist company. He appeared at the Trip.com Group's Envision 2025 Global Partner Conference in Shanghai. However, Angela, obviously, what's so shocking about this is that, yet again, he is doing all he can to overshadow King Charles's very important royal visit to Canada. And that has been, come on, Angela, I mean, that has been signposted for so long, but yet Harry gets up on stage to give a speech, which he thinks is going to steal the attention, because he said, challenges will undoubtedly rise, but if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's that meaningful change never comes easily. The true measure of our commitment is how we respond when the path becomes difficult. We must never give up. So woe is me, Harry, and who gives a damn in his head about Charles in Canada?
Yeah, it's very interesting, actually, because proof that he absolutely didn't need to go on that day was that he went there as a founder of Travelist. That's his traveling thing that people got very fed up because he kept going everywhere on a private jet. But he was at the top. He was one of the people who helped set it up. And in theory, it's a good idea. However, he's now at the bottom of the list, and it's not important where he goes because he's not needed anymore. They don't mind him and he can carry on. But they did ask him, what does he feel about using private jets? And he said his answer was, no one is perfect. How about that?
Yeah, well, you're definitely not, mate. Speaking about Prince Harry.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So there was King Charles, who has cancer. Don't know how much longer he's going to live, and Harry has said as much in an interview. And here was a perfect occasion for Harry to fly up a few hundred miles from where he lives, allegedly in California, to visit his father in Canada. And instead of doing that, he flies to China on a trip to promote Travelist that he didn't need to do. It was completely unnecessary there. He's the last on the list, like she said. So, and Harry, he claimed that he wants to reunite with his family so badly on the BBC, right? He wants to reunite so badly with his family. He wants to take his children to visit their grandfather who's dying in the UK. And here his grandfather makes an extraordinary effort at his age and health to fly to Canada and sort of meet halfway, which I think was a very diplomatic move, right? He's talked about, they keep talking about extending an olive branch. Well, that was an obvious olive branch, right? I mean, you can't deny it. He's in Canada, open for business. Harry was just in Canada for the Invictus Games not long ago, right? But instead, Harry flies to China on a trip he doesn't need to be on. That was not planned. There was no preparation for that. There was no announcement of it anywhere. Surprise. He was a surprise guest. It was a surprise guest. They didn't announce he was going to be there until the day of King Charles's trip there in Canada. So, I mean, it's obvious Harry and Meghan are such liars. They say one thing and their behavior shows the other. And, as they say, you'll know them by their fruits, right? Well, Harry and Meghan's fruits are all rotten and smelly and stinky and full of worms and other grotesque things. It's poison. Their fruits are all poison. That's what they are. They're not the liars. Anyways, So, and it just goes to show. I mean, look how Harry and Meghan treated the Queen when she was dying. Look how they treated Prince Philip, and they're doing the same with King Charles. And it's really unbelievable how everything they have is because of King Charles. They live off of his money. Everything that Meghan has going for her is because of the royal family, and yet they're so evil towards them and disrespectful, and it's quite clear that just from that action that Harry took, not visiting his father when he's on the BBC claiming, poor me, like, father will return my calls or whatever, and here is his opportunity to meet with him, and he doesn't even try. He flies to China, which is the system they're quickly bringing in here. If you go to my Odyssey page, I put a clip of latest interview with Catherine Austin Fitz, and she says everything Trump's doing now, the digital ID and the stable coins, this is all the Chinese Communist Party system. They're trying to bring it in fast. And she said after the Genius bill is approved, that's it. You're going to be seeing, we're going to be under Chinese Communist Party lockdown system. Watch out. Bring it in as quickly as possible before you have time to react. I'll tell you what. That's why they're probably saying there's going to be another COVID. They're going to lock everybody down with another fake COVID variant and then bring it all in or something. They're going to wake up and the banks are all shut down. They're going to be, oh, well, you get digital currency now. Yeah, just wait. A lot of shit going on. Harry and Meghan are with that group. Anyways, I'm going to focus on this, why Harry's flying all the way to China. The obvious lies of what he says. Everything him and Meghan say are lies. Everything in their books are lies. They can't keep any of their lies straight. They don't care. And Ted Sarandos at Netflix thinks that people are so fascinated by them because they're so outraged by them and their lies, and they're faking pregnancies, and they're being abusive to their elderly relatives while they're dying. And Ted Sarandos thinks, oh, well, they're such a hit. Everybody's watching them and talking about them. It's like, yeah, because they're criminals. They should be arrested. We're wondering why they haven't been yet. My God. I mean, never mind their attacks on the freedom of speech, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I mean, they're criminals, and their Netflix is supporting them because obviously Netflix is somehow connected. I think they got an award from King Charles. It's all connected. Netflix is a part of it. So they're all part of the same globalist cabal. Well, let's have so that aside, Harry's disrespectful, evil nature, his nastiness towards his grandmother, his grandfather, and now his father. He's such a nasty, evil man, which I've always known all along. But yeah, so he doesn't even try to pretend like he really means what he says when he wants to reconcile so badly, right? And what if his father dies, tomorrow or something? He missed his last chance to meet with him, and yeah, will he care? Probably not, 'cause Harry's so evil. Let's see, why did Harry take that trip to China when he should have been, if he really cared about his family in the UK, should have been trying to meet with his father? Let's see. And of course, he is trying to outshine his father as well in the news, because Harry really thinks he's such a big story. He's going to outshine his father. If you weren't on Twitter, you would never have caught that he was in China. Nobody reported. Nobody cared. He's not a stupid. All he did was go on stage and I don't know what he did. Answer some dumb questions. He was just there to be an idiot. Like, hi everyone, and pose for pictures. He was just there to pose for pictures with a few curious people. Unbelievable. I wonder if this is Meghan's idea. Let's see what Meghan's influence is on it. What was he hoping to accomplish by going to China? Let's find out. What was Prince Harry thinking going to China instead of visiting his father? See what the cards show. So this is general attitude of the whole thing. Oops, there goes my camera right on cue. You see that? Everything's working fine. Till that moment. Here we go. Yeah, 9 of Wands. Well, here's Harry, building a wall around himself and turning his back on his father and trying to steal all the mainstream media is their weapon. I see the wands as that. So he's being very defensive and selfish, and he's saying, "Oh, here's my chance to fight back and take out my dad here," And then we get the King of Coins. There's Harry. So he just thought that this made him look like a big man. It was entirely his idea. I'm assuming I'm going to look at Meghan too, but I think this really was his idea. He felt like this. He was showing that he's still a big star. See, Harry in his mind still thinks that him and Megalodon are the stars of the royal family. He really believed that. They went on one tour to Australia that went okay. It wasn't even good. There were a lot of terrible stories coming out of Meghan throwing tea on people and Meghan wearing a dress with a tag hanging out. And she was hugging her. It wasn't even a fake belly yet. She had nothing there. They had just announced her fake pregnancy. And so she had no stomach and she's walking around cradling her abdomen where nothing was there. I mean, she did that right from the get-go, right after the fake announcement. Well, the real announcement, but it was a fake pregnancy. Anyways, bottom of it all, judgment. So Harry and Meghan, and this is how he was expressing his judgment of his father. Harry thinks he's the judge and jury because he's been to court so much now. I think he thinks he can do the whole courtroom. And he was giving his father the finger, saying, this is for what you did, because he blames his father for him losing in court. He thinks that his father could have let him win with security or whatever. So he's still mad about the court. It's all about the court losing in court bothered Harry. And he's getting his revenge here with the publicity. Basis of it all, what we have here, we have the Queen of Wands reversed, or the Page of Wands reversed. But yeah, again, he was being abusive with the media. And of course, sending a message for Megalodon as well. It kind of says the Meghan influence there. So yes, he's being abusive. He's saying F you, and he's doing it the way globalists like himself do it through. And this is what Meghan did all throughout when she was at the royal, when she was a working royal for the 18 months that she was, and she complained about not being paid. She was always overshadowing others, pulling, stunts in the press on the days that other royal family members had something big going on, like when Camilla had a big speech about abused women. Meghan jumps out and decides to make an appearance at some theater to outshine her. So that's just one example. So this is, again, what Harry's doing, Harry and Meghan's tactics. And I think Meghan was definitely an influence there, gave him that thinking to do that. What prompted him to go to China instead of meeting his father? And we get the Page of Cups reversed. Page of Cups reversed. So cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and drugged up to the gills. And, he's under some delusions. This is like insanity and drugged up at the same time because Harry's both. He takes the ayahuasca and the drugs and the hallucinogens, and he's brainwashed with Meghan in her group. And he probably drinks. I'm sure he drinks too much as well. So, of course, he wasn't thinking straight. I got two pages. They're both reversed. One is of being out of your mind crazy, and the other one being abusive in the media. And sending out a nasty message in the media. And so Harry just, of course, is not thinking straight. He thinks he looks great. He thinks that he's Mr. Tough Guy, and he's showing him who's boss, who's the star. But in reality, he's out of his mind and, under the influence. And what was he expecting from this trip? Oh my, look at that. Death reversed. Wow. So he was hoping this would be the end of his father. He knows that this is going to upset him, and he knows how sick his father is. And he basically was saying in an unspoken way, reversed. I take that as like he was hoping he'd die. He was saying, "Go die. I don't want to see you." So he's in his delusional, crazy, drugged up mind. He's saying he's being extremely evil. And that is what drugs will do for you. That's why him and Meghan are so heartless and lack compassion or caring for anyone or anything, is because, partly anyways, besides being evil and satanic, but because the drugs are what can't make people not human anymore in a way. It's like they're, yeah. I don't know what's going on with my camera. I apologize. Oh my goodness. Brand new camera works fine for a long time, and then suddenly, boom, it starts acting up here. Let me see if I put the light on. That helps a little bit. Okay, that helps. All right, so what was he afraid of? Not want? Seven of Swords reversed. He doesn't want to be revealed for the liar that he is, and the lies he told in that BBC interview. I mean, it's obvious to us who watched and remember the BBC interview, but and of course, people who don't follow him are going to say, well, Harry had a business meeting. He had to be there. It's not his fault. He was out of the country. But we all know it's all BS. Harry is not a business person. He's just a loser who's used as a prop in certain businesses, shady businesses. But that's the reason he went to China. He knew if he stayed in California, everyone would say, why don't you go visit your father? He's only a couple hundred miles away in Canada or whatever. It's very close. Comparative, right? So he didn't want to get caught out for being a hypocrite liar about everything he said about wanting to be reconciled. See, he's hoping his father dies and that he would have said on BBC, see, I wanted to reconcile with him and he dies without even calling me. Meanwhile, this trip just shows that he made absolutely no effort, went out of his way to avoid reconciling with his family. So what is Harry hoping for with this trip to China? Ace of Cups reversed again, making a lot of sadness and overdoing the drugs as well. I can see he's probably, enjoying a lot of drinking and drugging while he was there, at least drinking. And also he wanted to upset his father. He wanted his father to die, basically. I think he's hoping that, in his drugged up mind, that's what he's thinking about. And you could also look at that as, he's having a temper tantrum, being the toddler-minded person that he is. He's wants to know how unhappy he is with losing his IPP. And how was Megalodon's influence in Harry going to China? Oh, look at that. Major Arcana, Sun reversed. Wow. So she was this was her thing. Now we know Meghan has a lot of connections in China. She bought the oats for her oat drink. They're bought in China. Meghan's scam jam is, I bet, any amount of money, China. So either Mexico or China, I'm going with China. That's where Meghan would go, the cheapest place. And I believe that's where that gross stuff came from that people are stupid enough to eat. And I think Meghan, with her Chinese connections, sun reversed, be doing it secretively, pretending like she's not involved in it. Whatever she has Harry do, the most atrocious things like suing for security or whatever, she lays low and pretends that she has nothing to do with it when we know she arranged this whole thing and she pressured him to go big time. It was her idea. She's like, you have to go to China. If you're here, everyone's going to ask why you're not going to Canada. I can see that coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And drugged up Harry's like, okay. So that's going to happen next. What's he going to do next? 10 of Cups reversed. So he's going to continue upsetting the royal family. And of course he did. This did affect, William and Catherine. They saw what happened and they're very unhappy. And of course, everybody who has to even think about Harry and Meghan are so disgusted and appalled by them and their shallow, insipid lies and derangement. I mean, Dan Wooten played clips of Meghan's last podcast she did, and just every single. I mean, I have not listened to any of them entirely. I've just heard clips here and there, but they're both out of their minds, and they're trying to make us crazy. I mean, if you want to make yourself crazy, you can go listen to a podcast with Meghan, who's they're purposely trying to make everyone crazy and unhappy. And Tonight Clips Reversed is all about it. So they're not only making the royal family unhappy, but everyone, just being this negative force in the media. They're being this upsetting and divisive, disgusting, despicable, criminal force to basically say, make everybody upset. And Ted Sarandos at Netflix thinks it's great that these two evil criminals dance around and keep getting money thrown at them and more airtime to put out their insanity and their arrogance. Anyway, so final card for Harry is the High Priestess reversed. Yeah, so as we already covered here, he's drinking and drugging heavily. I'm getting all the cards showing that he is out of his mind, drugged, drunk, insane, and he's getting worse and worse. And he's got to totally lose connection with reality. That he's never going to be able to come back. It's coming up soon. The way he's going. It's been going on for so long. It's almost 10 years now. He's going to end up dying insane and not even knowing who he is or where he is. He is completely out of touch with reality. But he thinks he's sane. And that what he does makes sense. Because of Megalodon, her group, heavily influencing it. Yeah, globalists in general. So there you have it. Harry is, as usual, sick and evil, but with Meghan, I get the devil card, more evil basis to what she does. But with Harry, I'm getting more insanity and drugs and brainwashing. Evil as well, as a result. But I don't think he would be this evil if he weren't under the influence of Meghan and drugs and whatever brainwashing she's done on him with her CIA buddies. As he's going to break. I mean, this is like he's going to break and he's going to not come back. It's going to be like no return here with the High Priestess reversed. So, yeah, there you have it. Crazy Harry is getting crazier and crazier. So I hope you enjoyed this. If so, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.